Hare Krishna, Namaste. There were a couple of questions being posted. We'll try to answer them. The question is from Gita Byte, posted on 10/22 on chapter 15 verse 16. We understand that the property of body is same in both material and spiritual world, just like the time factor. The time in this world and in the spiritual world are of achit category. They don't have consciousness. Likewise, the body of this world and the body of the spiritual world is also achit, doesn't have consciousness. But the difference between them is that the body of this world is Kshara, perishable, and the body of the spiritual world is Akshara, imperishable. Is my understanding correct? Response: the 16th sloka that we are currently learning is to classify the Atma, not the body. If that has not been clearly stated, I apologize. Atmas are of two types. One is Kshara and the other is Akshara. Though Atma in truth doesn't perish, still they are classified into these two types, just for us to understand where we fit into, which type we fall into. Are we Kshara or Aksharas? Are we perishable or imperishable? Those who are bound by the karmas, papa punya karmas, or ksharas, perishable, fallible ones. That is us. We are entangled in this material world and go through repeated birth and death. In that sense, we are called as ksharas, the fallible ones. Whereas the atmas who doesn't fall into this type are called aksharas, infallible ones, because they are free of karmas. And that is what is being discussed in this sloka. Dvavimo purusho loke ksharak shakshara evacha ksharak sarvani bhutani kutastokshara uchyate. Now let us understand the question first and then see the answer for it. The living entities who are entangled in this world gets a body, and also the living entities in the spiritual world get body as well. Are these two bodies of same nature? That is question number 1. Second question is, are they both, the body in the spiritual world and the body in the material world, are perishable or imperishable? This is a very good question. Let's see the first question. The first question, whether both bodies are achit. Yes, your understanding is right. Both the bodies are achit, just like how the time factor is achit. The time factor does not have consciousness. Likewise, the body in this world and in the spiritual world does not have consciousness. Therefore, they are also achit. Now let's see the second question. Quite interesting one. The body in this world is perishable, and the body in the spiritual world is imperishable. Is that correct understanding? Before we say a single word answer, yes or no, let's understand this. Both the bodies that which we obtain in this world and the one we will obtain in the spiritual world are made of 5 elements. The body that we get here is made of Panchabhutas: Prithvi, Jalam, Tejas, Vayu, Akasha, earth, water, fire, air and ether. They are byproducts of the Mula Prakriti. When the creation happens, from the Mula Prakriti comes Mahan. From Mahan comes Ahankara. That Ahankara are of three: Satvika, Rajasa and Tamasa. From Tamasa Ahankara we get Pancha Tanmatra and Pancha Bhutas. These Pancha Bhutas are ether, air, fire, water, earth. When the world comes to an end, when the pralaya, destruction happens, these five elements goes back to its previous stage. In one sense, they are perished. At that pralaya stage, there is no earth, water, fire, air, ether. It only comes into existence when the creation happens again. Whereas the body that is obtained in the spiritual world is also made of five elements, but they are not the byproducts of Prakriti. Those elements are Parameshti, Puman, Vishvaha, Nivrittaha and Sarvaha, which are equivalent of those five elements of this world. Those five elements of the spiritual world are free of mix of gunas. The five elements of this world are of Mishra Sattva, whereas those elements in the spiritual world is Shuddha Sattva. They don't have any trace of Rajoguna and Tamoguna. Another difference between these two sets of elements are the elements present in the spiritual world are eternally there. They are not destroyed and created like those elements of this world. Now, here is where the actual answer comes to the question that is being raised. Is the body that we obtain in the spiritual world imperishable? The body that we obtain in the spiritual world is Kshara, perishable. That doesn't mean the elements are perishable. They still exist eternally. How do we understand this? As we have discussed earlier in one of the questions raised, that the Muktatma over there, if he desires to serve the Lord, say for example as a peacock, he wants to take a body of a peacock and dance in front of the Lord to please the Lord. He can take the body of peacock, and that body is made of these Pancha Shaktimaya: Parameshti, Puman, Vishvaha, Nivrittaha and Sarvaha. And if the same Atma later decides to serve the Lord in the form of a cow, he can take the form of the cow, leaving the peacock form. When we say leaving the peacock form, it doesn't mean that the peacock body is lying on the ground over there in the spiritual world like a dead body. At that time, when he decides to take a cow body, leaving the peacock body perishes. When we say perishes, it doesn't mean the elements of the peacock body are perished. They are eternally present. Whereas in the material world, the elements are destroyed. So this is where we need to understand the difference. The elements of the material world get destroyed. The elements of the spiritual world never get destroyed. They are eternal. But the body that one obtains in the material world, perishable. Similarly, the body that one obtains in the spiritual world is also perishable. The body that one gets over here is not of choice, whereas the body that one obtains over there is full of choice. Therefore, they can change body as they wish to serve the Lord. But just we are saying they are perishable like the material body, it doesn't mean that they are equal to the material body. They are spiritual body. They are divine. They are transcendental body. It is full of Shuddha Sattva. I hope this answers the questions. Thank you. Hare Krishna.